Okay, so once you find that character, find their mannerisms. What does this or that make them feel? And how does that feeling make their body move? Do they move quickly or do they move slowly? Do they have spring in their step or do they trudge and drag their feet? Do I boogaloo? Does my scalp itch? Do I have a stomach ache? Is my belly burning? Do I have to go to the bathroom? What is my predominant behavior? What are my little mannerisms? What does that occurrence that's taking place do to the inside of their head? What are they thinking? You know, people are always thinking something, even though they may be saying something else. The normal person has 6,000 thoughts a day. Did you know that this year you will have 2,190,000 thoughts? Probably best to make them good ones. So apply your thinking to the script. Think that out. Plot that. Know your script, just so you know where you are. I've heard it said of many big-time stars that they knew everybody else's lines as well as their own. Well, why would that be, somebody on that level? Because they read and reread and study and parse that script incessantly. And that script can always change. The writer can rewrite the whole scene the night before. You get new pages on the set. It happens all the time. I'll tell you a story about that later on. Or the director may just say something in passing and bam! You have this light bulb moment and you go, oh, wow, I didn't even think of that. So be on your toes and ready to make the turns when they come up. And then you have to redo the work. Go back in again, reanalyze what you're feeling based on the change in the whole scenario. And remember, that's the fun, baby. Sometimes the director may not even have a clue, really. He may be totally focused on moving his crew around. He expects you to do your job. You have to make it all and come to work with the cake ready to go into the oven. And when your fellow actors have done their work as well, then it's a dance party. You listen, you react to what you hear or don't hear sometimes, what you see, and you think on your toes. That's the cool part. Quick story. I'm guest starring on an episode of NYPD Blue back in the 90s and working with Dennis Franz and Rick Schroeder, two good actors and nice guys. And we had been rehearsing a very complicated scene all morning with a lot of movement in it, with the director and the camera and the crew moving things around. We got ready to shoot, and all of a sudden, everything got very quiet on the set, and people just scattered over to the sides of the set and left this big space in the middle. And I walked over with Dennis. I said, what's going on here? He said, David's coming down. Well, he's talking about David Milch, the creator and the executive producer and head writer on the show. And I said, oh, cool. So David Milch shows up and he's standing in the middle of the room and he says, okay, let's see what you got here so far. Now, the director's been directing it. Directors always direct the show. So we go through what we've got and show him, and he goes, okay, all right, hold it, stop. All right, Madison, when you're over there, okay, Dennis is thinking so-and-so and such, but you don't know that. You look at him and you think he's thinking, and you're thinking this, and you're thinking that he's thinking something else. And so you will say, ba, 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 ba. So I write it down on the back of my script real fast. He says, Dennis, what do you say? He said, blah, 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 blah. He said, no, that's not going to work. Say this, blah, blah, blah. He gives Dennis new lines. He gives me some more lines. And then he said, now, Rick, where are you? And Rick said, well, I'm over here. I'm not really doing anything yet, David. And David says, okay, Rick, what you're going to... And he just stops, freezes, like he's had an aneurysm or something. He's just stuck, and he can't move. And this is a brilliant man. And Dennis looks at me, and there's this embarrassed silence, and Dennis finally goes like this. He walks over in front of David, stands, gets his attention. David looks at him and says, "What?" And Dennis goes. He holds out his hands like they're going to dance. And David looks at him and says, "What? No, okay. Well, all right, but just a quick one." And so they get arm in arm, and they dance around in a circle twice. And then Dennis stops, steps back, comes back over to me, and David goes, "Oh, Rick, so, well, you're going to do this, and you're going to do that, and you're going to do the other thing, and then you guys, and then just run the rest of the scene the way it goes, because I think that'll work." And then he leaves, and the little script supervisor, the lady whose job it is to cover everything, if you lift your eyebrow or you scratch your chest or you have a cigarette in your left hand instead of your right hand, she writes all of that down. She knows all of that in everybody's dialogue. Comes running up to me and says, "Madison, what did he tell you to say?" So I read it off to her, and we went to lunch and came back and shot the scene. That's how quickly it can change.